It's not just the financial crisis that's putting European unity to the test. There's also the free movement of people as stipulated in various EU treaties. Now, this Thursday, the French Prime Minister kicking off a two-day visit to Romania, one of Europe's newest members, which wants to be inside of the Schengen Treaty immigration zone. Jean-Marc Ayrault says fine, but seems in no hurry to set a timetable. Paris, for its part, wants Bucharest to do a better job welcoming home all the Roma people it expels back to Eastern Europe. Roma people and travelers, mayors fed up. That's the headline in conservative daily Le Figaro this Thursday. With the advent of summer, local residents complaining about a spike in nomadic people along the Atlantic and Mediterranean coasts. The conservative mayor of Nice has called them delinquents, triggering outrage from racism watchdogs who blast the socialists for expelling ever more Romas to Eastern Europe, despite the discrimination that awaits them when they get there. And a change in rules at the start of next year will give Romanians and Bulgarians the same rights to travel and work in the EU member countries as the other 26. How will that change the mix? How do you stop the vicious circle of a minority of 8 to 10 million Europeans that's unwanted, it seems, wherever it goes on the continent? Today in the France 24 debate, how to integrate the Roma. And with us to talk about it from the French city of Lyon, let's welcome back Saimir Millet, president of the Voice of the Roms Association. Thank you for being with us. We want to thank as well Jacques, Conservative Member of Parliament, Mayor of the Paris suburb of Maisons-Laffitte, Paul Morin of the European Grassroots Anti-Racism Movement. How do you say it? EGAM?
EGAM.
Yeah. EGAM. Thank you for being with us. And Europe editor at France 24, Christophe. Welcome, sir, the France 24 debate, where we've been reading your reactions on Facebook and Twitter, where our hashtag is F24debate. Forgive me for asking this, Saimir Millet, but can you once again just spell out for us, because there is a lot of confusion, Romas, travelers, what is the difference?
Well, Roms are a people with a language, with a history, with a culture. The travelers in France, called gens du voyage, are an administrative category of people designed as such by the French law and who are also suffering discrimination by the French law itself. But there is no ethnic meaning of gens du voyage.
And how great is the confusion inside of France between the two?
Well, it is the total mess, which is an organized mess, because the reality is much clearer when you know the situation. The reality is very clear. Those who in France circulate for more than 6 months during a year, they don't have a stable official address, well, they are considered as gens du voyage. It is only a criteria of housing, of way of housing. And the Roms, as for this name, this is just a people. We are a people with a language, with a culture, with a citizenship, which can be different. In France, 96 to 97% of the Roms are French citizens. Among them, few of them, very few of them, are also in this category of gens du voyage because not of their ethnic background, but because of their way of living, because of their way of, because of the nature of their housing. So those are two totally different realities.
Two different realities. And just before we get to the heart of the matter, we are talking about the Romas today. Saimir, you're in Lyon, the city of Lyon, and back in May, there were 200 Romas who had to be housed in a gymnasium when somebody set fire to their squat in a disused factory, killing 2 women and a 12-year-old. What's the latest as far as that goes?
Excuse me, I didn't understand the end of your question.
What can you tell us about that situation? Did they catch the people who set fire to that squat?
As far as I know, there is no result of the investigation. I'm not sure that this was a criminal fire.
It's not for certain. Okay.
Well, I know that the police was investigating the case, but at this moment I have no information about the result of the investigation.
All right, so the investigation there is ongoing. We were saying a moment ago, many people in France don't make the distinction, or even if they do, well, it's plain they don't want to see Romas or travelers in their town, like the mayor of Nice, who a few days ago caused an uproar when he spoke.
I've brought some to heel and I'll do the same with you, okay? The first thing I'll do is set up cameras everywhere to watch your comings and goings. We'll notice those who come and those who leave. When, at what time, and what they're doing in the city. I know that it doesn't please you, but we'll do it.
Christian Estrosi, who called the Roma people and the delinquents in that statement. Jacques MYARD, did he go too far in his statement?
Well, first of all, you have to make a clear difference between Romas coming from Romania, Bulgaria or Macedonia and those who are French who travel around. Those who are French who travel, in the case of Estrosi, the town of Nice has got its special camp to welcome them, but they refuse to go. And then this is very clear. And even the Home Minister, Mr. Valls, when he answered the question that Estrosi asked in Parliament, said clearly they have no right to stay where they are. And he said, I'm going to give instruction to the prefect so that they get out of the place because they have no right to stay there. So it's a question, it's a pure legal question. And of course they refuse to move. And there is another challenge, which is a very big challenge, not that much easy, which is of course the Romas coming from the new states of Bulgaria entering the European Union, Bulgaria, Romania, there are some in Hungary as well. So that's a very big challenge, and it is a complete different question than the so-called gens de voyage, those who travelers in France, because it's since now 20 years that we have been setting up. It was very, very difficult to solve, because it's very difficult to find the appropriate place where to set up a special camp to welcome them. In my case, we have 42, places for those kind of people who are French, and many are, more and more stabilized. I know there is another area near my town where they stay, where they want to have, accommodation.
You were telling me before the show that you've set up a common
with 42 places for what we call their vans.
The caravans.
The caravans, they can come, they pay, and there is a guard so that to keep things clean. So with water, electricity, etc. So it's step by step. It's working. And there is another question.
And how do your constituents feel about it? How do the residents?
Because that's 8 towns.
Right.
With state subsidized, and the big problem was to find a place, because when you are in a urban, city, very urbanized area, it's very difficult to find places where they can afterwards for the children go to schools, which in fact is the genuine question, because they travel a lot, and the children don't go that much easily to schools.
And the ones that have set up shop there, are we talking about travelers, or are we talking about Roma people?
No, we don't talk about Roma. Don't confuse. They are travelers, and they are French, and they go. I even asked once the Home Minister, they had a special identity card with biographic, biotechnics, pictures, etc. And it was something, in my view, which is irrelevant to French people, and I ask an ordinary identity card for everyone. And I think that is not completed yet. But the point is, when you speak of Romas, you speak of people coming to France where they can, according to the European law, they can stay 3 months and go. And they don't have a right until next January to work. And those who will work have a right to stay. But if,
So the advent of this new law as of January 1st, which will give them more rights, citizens of Romania and Bulgaria...
No, you're wrong. Even, let's put it this way, if a German people having no job in France, no permanent revenue, will stay in a camp like the Roms, the French state has a right to expel them. You see, so the law is not only applied to the Romas, but it applies also to those who come to France, even British, even Germans, if they have no permanent revenue and can't prove that they have a revenue, they haven't a right to stay more than 3 months. And this will apply at the 1st January 2014. The difference will be that at this date, if they have a job, they have a right to stay.
But Morin, we've assessed already that France has a problem with its travelers. Does it have a problem with its Roma people?
It does in a way that, so to come back on this, what we call the transitory measures that are applied to new entry countries, so Bulgaria and Romania. So the first distinction that we need to make is like the people we find in that camps are not necessarily all Roma. Okay, it's not only on an ethnic basis that we have to focus on, because these are just poor people coming from Bulgaria, Romania, or external countries from the European Union. The main difference between German citizens coming to France and one of these poor people coming from Bulgaria and Romania is that the German citizen can work and can access all job markets, whether there are limited jobs for these citizens coming from newly entered countries. And so it's important to make that difference.
Except on one point, if you allow me, is that last year and this year as well, the government has expanded the right of those people to work.
Yes, but it also had the choice to remove these transitory measures, as many other countries in the European Union did, because they could have done it, because the limit is 2014. For example, in Spain did it. They removed this transitory measures for a while.
But the French haven't done it yet.
No, and while it was promised by François Hollande to do it shortly, and he didn't do it.
But he's dragging his feet on it. A comment here on Facebook, and this is the perception, Jacques MYARD. It says, it is universal knowledge that France is not a welcoming country. French leaders have no desire to offer asylum to these Roma who have to make matters worse, a very old-fashioned lifestyle. The perception is that the French are not welcoming to immigrants.
Well, I'm sorry to say, the situation is difficult, especially in a country where you have an unemployment, an economic crisis. But there is also another problem. You will face the same situation in Germany, in Austria, almost everywhere. So, you know, the point is that if I look at the figures given by Mr. Volz himself, the Home Minister, he says that there are 20,000 people living in 400 camps and 70% in the area around Paris. So the point is that it's a huge pressure. And why do we have those people coming over? Because in Romania, in Bulgaria, the government doesn't do any step to integrate them, to help them. I was the MP who reports the treaty so that Romania can join European Union. And when I went to Bucharest, we raised this question of the Romas. And the Home Minister there said to me, but we integrated them. In the police, we took 4. It's a joke. It's a joke.
Christophe,
so this is the main point. And I'm just finishing that. You have to reckon with that the European Commission, the European Union, has given Romania almost 300 million for a plan, euro, to integrate them, to help them in their own country. No, this is
fake. This is a lie. I cannot accept
No, this is not a lie. This is not a lie.
All right, let me hear Saimir Millet. Go ahead.
Sir, there are no European funds on ethnic basis. There are no European funds on ethnic basis. You are lying,
population
and this is demagogy. And please, let's have a debate on real facts.
Christophe,
if I may say, well, several points. First of all, I think it's increasingly more difficult for countries like France, or Spain to teach Romanians how to treat their Roma community, when even UN reports say that they're better treated at home than in parts of France. Second point, you're absolutely right, that Romania could do a much better job. There is a tool at Romania's disposal, it's EU funds. The problem is that when you look at the figures, Romania has only managed to tap into 15% of the funds that it's entitled to get. It's not always on ethnic basis, but there are a lot of social programs that could be developed in Romania. For some reason, I guess for bureaucratic lack of political willingness, Romania has not been able to deliver. But we live in Europe. We are in the 21st century. Europe is a collection of 27 countries, now 28 by the way, with Croatia, which recently joined. There are some common rules. Free movement, we have to accept. Romanians are EU citizens. Romas who live in Romania are EU citizens, and they're entitled to the same rights, even though there are currently still restrictions, as you pointed out. And that creates in turn some problems.
Christophe, I want to bring up on those points just two items that I think are important for this discussion. In France, it's the left in power now, not the right. The Interior Minister has been quite blunt about this. Amnesty International pointing out in an open letter published Thursday that Manuel Valls himself used some pretty strong language back in March. The inhabitants of these settlements do not want to integrate into our country for cultural reasons or because they are in the hands of networks linked to begging or prostitution. The Roma are supposed to remain in Romania. Go back there, he said at the time. Now, should note that the deportation to Eastern Europe continues unabated under the left. The numbers continue to grow. There you see it in reverse. 2012, which was an election year, up to above 12,000, and it's expected to be high once again. And finally, Christopher, and this gets back to the point that you were saying, new rules that allow Romanian and Bulgarians to freely travel starting January 1st. You mentioned that this should be one set of rules for the entire European Union. Already the interior ministers of Britain, Germany, Austria, and the Netherlands have warned of a caveat. They say we're equally committed to preventing and combating the fraudulent use of the right of free movement by union citizens in order to by third country nationals abusing free movement rights to prevent, quote, excessive strain on the social systems of those receiving societies. That's legalese for basically not so fast.
Yes, there is a lot of unease and a rather aggressive debate in Britain, because Britain, not being part of the Schengen area, is in a different position. A lot of people, particularly in the conservative camp, are not happy with lifting the restrictions. And of course, if you go to Britain, yes, you're being told these people will abuse our systems. Now, another question we should ask, why is it that whole families are ready to come all the way from Romania to France or to Germany to in turn be given 300 euros and a plane ticket to go back? It says a lot about the level of poverty. And just a few figures I'd like to quote when the latest EU...
just hold on to those figures, because we're going to have to take a quick break, and I want to pick up on your point about the traveling to and fro. We'll be right back. This is the France 24 debate.